Breaking news coming in. In fact, the SC panel on farm laws has responded and said that this is a regressive step. Let's go back to Abhishek on that. Abhishek, any more details that you can share with us at the moment?
Well, not yet, Nupur. This is an evolving story. I think this is the first reaction coming in from the committee that was set up by the Supreme Court of experts. They were obviously taking a deep dive on the subject based on the guidelines given by the Supreme Court. Also, Nupur, as I was mentioning earlier, Prime Minister very beautifully delineated that 80% or 85% of India's farmers are small and marginal farmers who do subsistence farming. All the entire structure of our farm sector is based on giving maximum benefits to those who have land, who have big chunks of land, or at least they would corner maximum benefits through the system of middlemen. What these farm laws did was to take away the middlemen and democratize the markets, bring the market efficiencies at the doorstep of the village. Remember, for example, there was this existing provision that the farmers could sell their produce only at the nearest mandi or the nearest APMC of their district, not even nearest their district APMC. So if a farmer has his or her produce or village at a distance A, and the nearest APMC is of neighboring district, which is 20 kilometers away, but then his or her district's APMC is 45 kilometers away, the farmer was forced to go to that APMC and not the nearest APMC. Those kind of restrictive provisions were there in the existing laws. The farm laws really sought to democratize and liberalize these laws in the benefit of the farmers. Remember, for every farm product that you buy, sell, almost 30% costs are logistics costs. And those could have been saved if the market efficiencies reached the doorstep of the farmer. Some farmers, big farmers, were muscling their way through and were actually getting those benefits. It's the small farmers, marginal farmers, who were at a disadvantage. Unfortunately, now the farm laws are not there, and so I think the government will need to innovate and find other ways. Prime Minister underscored that when he said that we are going to continue our journey of reforms and we will find some other ways of doing it, given the fact that there was possibility of, or not possibility, this was actually happening. These protests were being used and were becoming a catalyst for anti-India forces to galvanize and get together to harm the communal fabric of the country, particularly in Punjab. I think this decision had to be taken. So I think the first reaction coming in from the committee, which was anyway looking into these laws and has been working on them for the last 4 or 5 months, and they were perhaps close to submitting their report to the Supreme Court. I think their reaction is also similar, on the lines of expressing a little unhappiness because the farm laws had to be withdrawn, obviously, as I said, for the national security reasons.
No, absolutely. But, Abhishek, because if you are talking about the political dynamics there, if you can help us understand what changes now for Delhi, for Punjab, for Haryana, and also for UP.
Abhishek? I missed that, Amita. Was that question to me? I missed your question, Amita.
No, I'm just asking, how does it change the ground situation for Delhi borders? We've seen that being blocked and the city being held to ransom. When it comes to Haryana, it had been struggling to keep up with the farmer protests. Punjab and UP also, because we're looking at 2 state elections coming up.
Well, imagine the mockery of law of the land that was being made at these protest sites, Amita. Be it Singhu border, be it Tikri border, be it Ghazipur border, despite observations made by the Supreme Court ad nauseum, these protesters were not budging. And in fact, there was a law and order situation that got created last month with the killing of one man from Punjab. And that's really got the government thinking whether, seeming adamance on farm laws is going to create a national security issue. Amandeep from the ground was reporting about sort of resurgence of Bhindra Wale posters We saw how the Khalistanis outside India and backed by anti-India forces, possibly backed by our neighbor to the west, were using these protests to channelize and funnel their own nefarious designs and agendas insofar as communalizing the whole issue is concerned. So I think the decision had to be taken. So far as the impact of this decision on UP, MP, and other areas, essentially farming states, is concerned, obviously, because the perception had got created that these farm laws are not in the larger interest, and there was this media attraction because these farmers, protesters continued to sit on these protests outside Delhi borders. I think there would be an element of relief that at least the issue is over. Now the onus is on these protesters to live by their own word, because till now they had been maintaining that they will withdraw their protest the moment the farm laws are withdrawn. That is exactly what has happened. On an auspicious day, Prime Minister is known for choosing his timing very well. If the focus was entirely on Punjab, then what better day than the birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev Ji to make an announcement of this kind. I think this should have taken winds out of the sail of these protesters, and that's why they really don't know how to react. And that's why perhaps they are moving the goalpost, not realizing that it might backfire on them.